I have a message today for people who are seeking to understand God in all circumstances. And I don't mean understand him in a way that you know his thoughts. I mean understand him in a way that means I'm going to trust him through everything. Exodus chapter 13, verse 21. I'm reading the English Standard Version. This is what it says, y'all. Listen to this. It says, "And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, that they might travel by day and by night." The Bible says that God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. But it never says he looks the same, which means that we have to trust that regardless of how he appears to us, he's still the same God. Why am I saying this? Because in order for them to travel, he had to change forms so that they could still be protected, not just protected, but governed. By governed, I mean led. In order for God to lead you in all circumstances, as the circumstances change, he remains the same God by being in a different form based on what you need. So don't be so quick to waver because your situation looks a certain way. God is tailor-made in all circumstances to be perfect in your weakness. That's why Paul said, "I will boast all the more gladly in my weakness," not because of who I am, but because the God who remains the same, part of him remaining the same means that he can be the same in any circumstance because he's adaptable. Let me read this for you again, right? "The Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light." The times where we are on fire for God has to be when the night falls. Why do I say this? Because the Bible says weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Sometimes the joy that we experience, weeping may endure for a night. When you weep, you still got to be on fire for God. When the night fall and things get dark, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no what? Evil. I'm still on fire for God. But notice he said a pillar, a cloud by day, which means that even when joy comes in the morning, some things may still be cloudy. But through the cloudiness of the daytime, will you still have joy? Weeping may endure for a night, but I'm on fire. Joy may come in the morning, but I have joy even when situations are cloudy. You have to understand the metaphorical, symbolic meaning of what God says when he starts talking. This is the children of Israel being led out of exile. Your path to freedom means that you have to trust God no matter how he looks, no matter where he meets you. They were in the desert. The desert is the most bipolar climate that there is. Contrary to popular belief, the desert is not always hot. The desert can drop to negative temperatures and go above 100 in a day. So what does that mean? Not only does God know what you need based on your leadership, he knows what you need based on covering, because during the daytime it's hot, so he gave them a cloud. But during the nighttime it's cold, so he gave them fire. He gonna give you just what you need when you need it. But you got to receive it. You can't look at your circumstances and say, "Well, God, why am I in the desert?" "Well, God, a pillar of fire." Are you serious right now? Because some of the things that you don't understand why you have it, it's protection. It's perfectly made for your circumstance and your season of life right now. But if you would take time to stop asking him for more and ask him what all he's already given you, he would show you the purpose for what you've already been blessed with, while you may be looking at it like a curse. And I'm going to leave you with this, because this is what God has me on in my life right now. Colossians 3:23 says, "Do everything working heartily, as if serving unto the Lord and not human masters, for we know that our reward comes from God." You might know your reward comes from God, but you don't know what the reward is. So why would you not trust the one who already has the table set for you in a place that you haven't even been prepared to eat it yet? And part of trusting God during a season where you don't have is by preparing the table for him to put food on there, and you don't even know what it is you finna eat. How can you ask God for a meal when you haven't even trusted him enough to set the table to know that he's going to provide? Get to work. How you wait means how you serve. Serve while you wait. Be the good steward that God called you to be. Just because you don't have it now don't mean that you won't have it ever. But you'll never get to the fullness of God's blessing if you don't be encouraged during a season where he's trying to give you something that might look like hardship, but instead it's a championship. God bless you.